We never use this one. Real YouTube is talk about World Championships. This isn't happening for a while, but it's still exciting that we have some news. I normally I think about what I'm gonna say a little bit before I start singing. For example, normally what I actually do is think about the first two lines and then go from there. This time I didn't think about it at all. So if you notice a difference in quality, I'm sure you don't, because all intros are perfect. All intros are 10 out of 10. Anyway, so there I was, living my life, and I got some surprising news. In fact, I got some news that I wasn't even expecting, if you can believe it. Sarah be tweeted out, that Pokemon tweeted out, that I don't really know, somebody tweeted or posted information, I don't know. Basically, here's the deal. We have some information about 2021 Pokemon. Now, it's kind of hard to believe, but we're already in... By the time I post this, it should be July 1st. This should be tomorrow's video from when I'm recording this. I'm recording on the 30th, yep. We're already in July. I have been kind of... I mean, most of us, the world's kind of been on pause, it feels like, since March, because of, obviously, what's been going on. And so... Truthfully, like, I haven't even been thinking that tournaments in a live, format can return anytime soon. And that's not what this is about, right? This is about a year from August. So over a year away, the 2021 Pokemon World Championships. However, I certainly wasn't expecting to see news, and I think it's kind of cool that they're already announcing, some details. So anyway, long story short, they made an announcement about some details on the 2021 Pokemon Championship Series. It's basically how to qualify for the World Championships and details about the World Championships. So, this is cool. Planning with a big P. P-Landing is underway for the 2021, it's kind of crazy, Championship Series season. Pokemon organized play joins players and looking forward to the resumption of existing competitions around the world. So this is, okay, I'm just going to take this one thing at a time. There was a chance that we just got canceled. Not a good chance for sure, but there was a chance that VGC as a whole just totally canceled, right? And that was never resumed, and obviously I don't want that. I'm sure most of us who play do not want that, but this is good, in my opinion, that they're already acknowledging that, hey, like, we're not just gonna walk away, right? Because I don't know, like when things aren't planned, like, there's no guarantee that they'll start up again, but it's, it was always unlikely. Like, I'm sure it was never on the table that they weren't gonna continue events, but just as someone who, these events have been a major part of my life for a long time, I do worry a little bit. I'm wearing a blanket because I was cold, but I'm heating up, so I'll take it off soon. I actually was just gonna wear the blanket with no shirt underneath because that's what I was before, but I figured don't want to get in trouble, so I put a shirt on. Anyway, the usual line that they say, which is true: the health and safety of our communities continue to be the most important aspect of resuming live events, and the situation is being continually monitored. Yeah, like I wasn't thinking we were gonna have live events again until there was a vaccine. Like, I don't know, like, I wouldn't get in a plane right now, personally. Like, I would not get anywhere near a plane. Like, I barely go outside if I can help it. When I'm in the city, at least. When I was in the suburbs, I was going outside more, but that was different because I could actually, like, distance. So yeah, like, the idea of going to a convention right now is kind of not at all in my brain, but yeah, obviously they're not going to do it if it's not safe. The timing for the next live play Pokemon events will be determined by the health mandates, guidelines, and recommendations provided by appropriate government agencies. Effectively saying, we're updating you now, but, like, don't expect anything soon until, like Pokemon's not going to be the first thing to open up, Anyway, this update provides information about the 2021 Championship Series season under the assumption that play can resume in some form over the next 12 months. Play Pokemon events remain suspended, but the plans for the next season anticipate that the Pokemon World Championship will take place in London in August 2021. Accordingly, the following changes are being made. So, effectively what they're saying is that they expect live events to happen at some point within the next year. Before 12 months are up, they expect live events to be going on. And it's kind of interesting because this past weekend was supposed to be the North American International Championships. An event I actually won last time. I guess I'm still the defending champion somehow, despite the fact that it should have happened. So, yeah, so it's, it's kind of wild. This is, I mean, I don't know if you guys care, but, these events have been a huge part of my life since I was, 15 years old. And actually, maybe even 14. And so, like, I went to every U.S. Nationals. Every U.S. Nationals or North American International Championships, same thing. I was there. So this is the first year I haven't been there. So it was definitely a little sad for me. Like, obviously I didn't want to be there given the state of the world, given that, like, people would die if we went. So it's good. Obviously, I'm not saying it shouldn't have been canceled or anything, but yeah, it's still a little weird, Like, this is the first time since I was 15 that I haven't, been to one of these. So it's definitely a little weird. Anyway, here's the updates. The age division for players in the 21 season will be the same as the age division for the 2020 season. Now, this is very good. Here's why. Let's say you are on a cusp, right? Now, this wouldn't apply to most players, but, juniors and seniors play this game. And let's say you were going to be a senior in 2020, but you'd be a master in 2021. It's a really weird spot for you, right? Like, let's say you got a ton of CP, but maybe you, like, I don't know, like, you didn't, maybe it was your last senior world championships, right? Your last junior world championships. And where does that leave you, right? Like, where, do you just, like, not get the chance to compete? Or, like, I don't know, like, do you, what if you're, like, a very good senior, but maybe you have a harder time in Masters? Like, it feels a little, I'm done with this. It feels a little, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say unfair, like, I think it would have been fair if they also said you're aging up, but also, it's a little weird, especially given that, like, a senior could have earned, in theory, a ton of championship points, and if you move them up into Masters, like, they would just disrupt the whole ladder, right? So you're not playing with on the same playing field. So, for that reason, I'm really glad they're keeping the divisions. And I don't think it's unfair at all to do. Like, you're playing with the same people you would have been playing, except everyone's a year older. So, that might mean that in 2022, there's kind of a weird jump where, like, maybe, there's a 2-year gap between the divisions, whereas normally it's just, 1 year each time that moves up. Like, you have 2 years moving up. But I don't know. I think this is still for the best. Here's the major change that we know for so far. These 2 points, or these 3, whatever points. The 2021 World Championships will take place over 4 days, beginning on a Thursday. Now, that's a huge change, and I'll talk a bit about what the implications of this are. But it's basically Pokemon Worlds in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. Those years that I played was effectively a 2-day tournament. The Friday was the last chance qualifier where people who didn't qualify for Worlds could play, but if you qualified, it was only Friday and then some Saturday. It was only Saturday and then some Sunday. Excuse me. It was pretty much only Saturday for a lot of these years as well. Like, because in 2011 and 2012, it was good. We played all of top 8 on Sunday, and but I think, 2013, 2014, I think it was only finals. So basically, it was a 1-day tournament, unless you made the finals, in which case it was a 2-day tournament. So, starting in 2015, day 1 was added with the addition of lower CP bars. It was easier for people to qualify. And so if you made day 2, you just started on Saturday. But if you were day 1, you started on Friday. And now we're actually going to a Thursday 4-day tournament system, which is a little bit wild, I'm not going to lie. So here's the thing. Here's how it works. There will be 2 CP qualification bars. Thursday players who reach the qualification bar that is the same as the 2020 bar. Therefore, players who previously qualified for Worlds are still qualified for 2021. Friday players who reach a new CP bar set in 2021 when more information is available about qualifying events. Player fires. I haven't spoken much today, if you can't tell. Players hit the Friday CP bar will skip play on Thursday. I guess I should explain what CP is. Some of you are probably confused. CP is when you go to events, depending on how well you do, you're given CP, aka championship points. Winning an event gives you more than second place. Bigger events get you more give you more CP than smaller events. And it's all used to qualify for Worlds, win travel awards, all that stuff. So, you basically can get a bye to Friday. This doesn't actually... Okay, wait, I'll finish this. The number of CP for qualification will be announced at a later date. That makes sense. Information on best finish limits will be available at a later time. They don't say anything about day 2 invites here, which is interesting. So here's... let me explain. So basically, the way that it used to work, that it would have worked at VGC 2020 Worlds, was relatively simple. You could play an event, you could get points. If you got 400 championship points, you would qualify for day 1, which would have been Friday at the time. If you were finished in the top 8 of your region, or top 16 in Europe, and maybe there's some top 4s, or maybe top 2s as well, I'm not sure. But in the US, if you finished in North America, if you finished top 8, you got a bye. You didn't have to play the first day. You went straight to day 2. It's a huge advantage. And you could also make day 2 by making it out of day 1, where basically you most likely would play 9 rounds, and you have to go 7-2 there. So, yeah. And then you could play on Saturday if you made it out of Friday. So there were 2 ways to make it Saturday. However, this doesn't make any mention of day 2 invites here. I'm not entirely sure, what that means. I think that could be really interesting if you only had Thursday, Friday. It's going to be a lot of Pokemon. Like, already... So I got some backlash in the past for stating that I think it should be harder to qualify for Worlds. Many people don't agree with me. It's fine if you don't agree with me. I'm not here to get in that high horse. But the reasoning behind it is that the more Pokemon you play, the more room for variance it is. And it's not a game that's very forgiving, right? Like, basically, like, in my opinion is that, at that tournament at that time, the World Championships should be set up so that the best player wins the tournament. Within reason, right? You're not going to have a one-person tournament, right? The best player should have the best shot at winning the tournament, maybe is what I should say, at that time, right? That's my personal ethos. Totally fine if you don't agree. I'm not here to get on the soapbox. I'm not trying to face any backlash or anything for it. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine, okay? And the thing is, Pokemon Worlds has grown a lot over the years. Back when I first started playing, you know, only 4 people from North America would qualify for the World Championships unless they made it through the LCQ. So obviously that's changed immensely. Now probably 100 people will qualify at least for Worlds this year in North America. It's grown significantly, and Day 1 Worlds often has, the last few years has had several hundred players playing in it. Now, that's great for many reasons. Some people don't come from a region where they have a lot of events, so a lower CP bar is good for them. It means that they can participate, right? There's a positive of a lower CP bar. And many players like don't have the money to travel really far, right? Or don't have the time off work, or for whatever reason. The system that we currently have is very favorable to those players, right? Players who can't play as much or come from like areas without as many events. It's a lot easier for players like that to qualify, which I think is a good thing, right? I don't think those players shouldn't be able to qualify at all, right? Like I think there's probably a middle ground. Not really what I'm supposed to be talking about here. My point is that there's going to be a lot of players at Worlds. So adding an entire extra day, like before, you know, everything that happened in the world, I would have said I would have liked the opposite result, right? I would have liked to move towards, you know, fewer players playing. I'm not saying like 10 or 20 or anything, but I'm saying like that's my personal preferences, right? Like more exclusive to qualify, more harder to qualify, whatever you want to say, and therefore there's like you don't have to play 9 rounds day 1. Maybe you play 8, maybe you play 7, which has both happened in the past. We've had 8 and 7 rounds day 1. We've even had a 6 round day 1 as well. So yeah, like that's my personal preferences. However, the World Championships in 2021, assuming they happen, are going to be extremely, extremely difficult. 4 days of Pokemon is more than I've ever played. 3 days of Pokemon is a lot, and we never even really play 3-day tournaments, because if you're playing in a 3-day tournament, it means you made the finals, and you're not really playing day 3, you're just playing one match, one set, you know? And the endurance, the stamina battle that you have to fight is only on the first 2 days. I qualified for every World Championship, right? I've played in a lot. I've made day 2 several times. I've made day 1 several times. In 2014, I missed qualifying. I made it through the LCQ, which was effectively day 1. 2015, I made day 2. 2016, I made it through day 1, won the tournament. 2017, I made it through day 1, and top cut. 2018, I bombed out of day 1, going 5-0 to 5-3. You needed 6 wins. No, you needed 7 wins. Yeah. So 5-0 to 5-3. Didn't qualify. That's the one time I didn't make day 2. 2019, starting in day 2, didn't top cut, right? So I have a lot of experience playing in World Championships. It's so hard. After going through day 1, like, it's so hard to keep your stamina up day 2. And that's the reason, like, first of all, there's variance, right? And, like, there's a kind of an interesting conundrum between day 1 and day 2, where, like, obviously, different, like, people are typically there's going to be more volatility on day 1. A lot of players will feel like, you know, maybe I have to take risks in order to do well. Maybe I have to, or like maybe, you know, the players who make day 1 are just more likely to run stuff that's more off the wall. But my experience has been if you make day 2 Worlds, and I think it makes sense psychologically, like in order to make day 2 Worlds, you have to play in a ton of events. Like a ton. Like a lot of events. Like a lot of the people who make day 2 Worlds, at least in the US, they're playing Pokemon every weekend. They're going to every local. Another thing that I could talk about if we're talking about format, or, you know, structure of the season is, you can get a lot of points from local events, like a lot of points, and for many players that's very good and allows them to qualify. It you know, helps pad out their CP count if they're missing some, which helps them qualify, which is good. But at the top, it's also like every single point matters, and people are going, you know, people are flying to all 4 internationals. They're maxing out their 8, you know, or 6 best finish limit regional counts. They're maxing out their 8 best finish limit regional counts last season. And it's like everyone is fighting tooth and nail for CP. And so a lot of the times the players who will qualify for day 2 are players who are really consistent. Maybe they don't always have big wins, but they're going to every event. They're playing at every local. They're really like just grinding. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not the way that I like to play Pokemon, but there's nothing wrong with that inherently. Just not my personal preference. Why was I talking about this? Oh, yeah, so basically, because of kind of this mentality, and oftentimes people will try and compete the whole season, right? They'll play the whole season, like, with the goal of day 2, they'll play it almost every weekend, they'll travel, they'll spend, you know, lots of time traveling, etc., etc., and so if you do all that, like, you do all that work, I'm sure there's some, like, part of you that wants to play it maybe a little bit safer, or at the very least, like, doesn't want to, you know, risk throwing it all away, because it's really a year's worth of work, you know? for these players. Like, yeah, because they play in so many events. So anyway, all that to say that day one, typically people are more likely to take risks, and day two, I feel like people are more risk averse. And that means that if you're playing in day one and you intend to make day two, it kind of puts you in a weird spot, because a team that will do well day one isn't necessarily a team that will do well day two. Even ignoring variance, even ignoring, fatigue and all the other factors that you have to consider. I know I'm kind of just like ranting about nothing right now, but I don't know. These are my thoughts, so I'm sure many people clicked off already. But yeah, if you're interested in this stuff, I'll keep talking about it. Anyway, so it puts so the 1 year I didn't make day two worlds, the only year I didn't make day two worlds was the year where I built two teams. I had a team that was standard-ish. I thought it was solid enough to get me through day one. It was not. I bombed out. This is 2018, and I spent the majority of my time on day two, on my day two team, which was a Paris trap team that I never actually got to use because I didn't make day two worlds, right? And so I spent a ton of time on the second team, neglected the first team. In general, I would now, after having this experience, recommend only building one team and just trying, getting really good at using it, because yeah, I mean, you can beat a lot of things if you play well, although depending on the team that might not be true, but regardless, right, like at least someone who found myself in that position of like, I really want to win this tournament, I'm going to take a risk, I'm going to build two teams and just hope that my day one team is enough to get me through day one. It's tricky, right? Because I knew that the fields were going to be different, and I knew that the Paris trap team probably wasn't going to do as well day one. I'm only talking about my experience because those are the only experiences I have. Like, I'm just using this to give examples. I'm not trying to make it all about me. I'm just trying to give you guys my context and my history so that you can understand where I'm coming from. Therefore, if you want to discard what I'm saying, you know where I'm coming from as well. At least like why I formed the thoughts. So, yeah. So all that to say, like, it's really difficult to make it out of day one worlds. Like, day one worlds is one of my least favorite tournaments that I ever have to play because it's so stressful and it's really difficult. Like, you're playing with some of the best in the world, and like, yeah, like I don't know. Even if you make it out as well, like I know in 2017 I was so fatigued. 2016 I was fatigued as well, but I was able to like focus a little bit better. But in 2017 when I made it out of day one worlds, yeah, I was just really fatigued, and it started to show towards the end of day two when I eventually like lost. And I was making mistakes earlier as well, and it's exhausting. Like playing a full day of Pokemon, playing one full day of Pokemon, exhausting. Like, especially, I don't know, my experience is also like I get pretty nervous at tournaments, so I often like have trouble eating. And this is better now, but I have insomnia, and so especially back in the day, like I couldn't sleep the night before a tournament at all. Like I wouldn't sleep, maybe an hour at best. My insomnia is normally not that bad, but the nerves really get to me, and so I can't eat. I have really a lot of trouble sleeping, and then you're so focused all day. And keep in mind, you're running on like adrenaline, and like for me, I run on very little food. Like I'll eat a banana because that's what I can stomach, but I can barely eat more than that most of the time. So it's a very exhausting exercise, and it's not exhausting in the same way that like like a physical activity is. I ran track for a while. It's not the same kind of exhaustion, and it's not like you can just push through. Like when your mind starts to dull, when your mind starts to get tired, like it's not the same as for me running, where like you can kind of like you like recognize it. You can be like, oh, I'm feeling bad. I can like push more. Like it's very hard to force yourself to like after 6 hours. 6 rounds, you have 3 left, to like just force yourself to like make no mistakes, right? Because oftentimes is what Pokemon requires is kind of flawless, no mistake gameplay. So all that to say, it's an exhausting experience, and having to do all that just to play in day two is exhausting. I worked pretty hard last year to qualify for day two, because I didn't want to go through day one again after bombing out in day one in 2018. Now it didn't matter, I still didn't top cut, but yeah, like I went to 2 internationals, I got top 4 and first at them, and that's the reason I was able to qualify, is I just had really strong international finishes. And yeah, I went to more regionals than maybe I had before as well, I think. I'm actually not sure about that, but yeah, like starting in day 2 gives you an enormous advantage, and obviously, as I showed last year, the advantage doesn't necessarily mean you'll do well, but it is an advantage nonetheless. I do have confidence that if I'd started in day 1, I probably wouldn't have made it to day 2, and even if I did, like, yeah, like I don't think I would have done as well. So yeah, so basically, all this to say that I am, as a competitive player, I am apprehensive about the addition of Thursday Worlds. Do I think it's probably the right call? I do, right? Do I think that, like, they shouldn't do it? No, I don't. I think that it's the right call. Having 2 separate bars, not force, like, splitting it up over multiple days, multiple phases, giving players a chance to qualify for Friday. But even if you qualify for Friday, still difficult. Still very, very difficult. Like, qualifying for Friday now is just the same as day 1 in any previous year, and I've been talking about how difficult that is. So I I don't know. I think that it's going to be very interesting. I think that they're doing a good job of adapting to the circumstances, to, you know, taking an unorthodox situation, an unprecedented situation, to be honest, and making the most of it. I think this all looks good, right? I'm not looking forward necessarily to playing in it, especially if I have to start on Thursday. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is probably the right call nonetheless. It's just going to be very, very difficult, like extremely difficult. If you start on Thursday to make it to Saturday, like that's the equivalent of like making it to finals a lot of the time. And you there's a little bit more room for error. That's not entirely true, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. I'm curious to see how many Thursday players do well. But at this point, I kind of don't even want to jinx it. Like I don't even know. I don't personally believe I'm gonna be in London in 2021. Not because I don't qualify. Like I've almost qualified for Thursday at least. But just because, yeah, like it's too uncertain right now. The state of the world is too uncertain. Anyway, that's a lot of ranting. I hope what I was trying to say came across in a way that was accurate, or at least true to how I felt. I tried to communicate clearly, but it's me, so who knows. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say. I know this wasn't exactly about all the information, but I don't know. I don't really have that much opportunity to talk to you all about, like, just my thoughts. I don't know. Like, it's kind of weird because on the one hand, like, I'm always talking about my thoughts, but on the other hand, like, it's always, like, anchored in something, right? Like, here's my thoughts about the match I'm playing, or here's my thoughts about, like, this Pokemon. So this is just kind of, I wanted to talk about this, and this was a good reason to. I didn't have any plan when I started the video, by the way. Like, this wasn't really where I expected to end up, but, yeah, like, this is where I ended up, which I guess is fine. Hopefully I don't get more hate for this, but, yeah, I guess it's my fault if I do. But yeah, anyway, it's I don't know, it's kind of nice just to talk about the competitive side, because I'm sure, like, there's probably some people who watch this who are interested in what I had to say, and, like, who wouldn't have thought about it otherwise, so, yeah. I don't know. Hopefully it's fine. I don't know. I mean, I upload every day, so if you didn't like this one, tomorrow will be different. But anyway, that's all I have to say. I guess I probably could talk more, but I think this is a good place to end the video. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought about this whole kind of everything. The changes, the format in which I presented the information, all that stuff. Yeah. Let me know in the comments. All right. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.